Hey friends, today I'm going to be showing you how to make this DIY two-piece hooded swimsuit cover-up. Let's get started. For this cover-up, we're starting with the pants. I'm using a mesh net fabric that is stretchy from selvage to selvage, so it's a two-way stretch on that fabric, and I'm using a pair of jeans that fit me well. I have folded the jeans in half towards the back crotch seam on one side, and I've went down 3 inches from the bottom of the pants and cut across the fabric so that I can get the length, and I'm using a 1-inch seam allowance across the side, and then I'm going to go up 1 inch on the top above the waistline, and I'm going to cut across. So then I'm going to take the jeans and I am going to refold them to the front crotch seam and place them on the other edge of the fabric with a 1-inch seam allowance, and I'm going to cut that out as well. Now I've lined up the pants from the bottom so that they'll be the same length with the same 3-inch hem allowance at the bottom, and notice that the top waistband area is just 1 inch above the top, but the front waistline is lower than the back, so I made sure to dip down that angle, and then I'm just cutting off the strip where the fold is to make sure I have that 1 inch down that side. So I'm going to take it to the machine and I am going to stitch down the crotch seams. I use the zigzag stitch and I've sewn that together, and now I am opening up that crotch seam on the front and the back to make 2 pant legs. So now that it looks like a pair of pants, I am going to match up the crotch seams at the center, and I'm going to place a pin, and I'm going to take it back to the machine, and I'm going to sew down both legs using a zigzag stitch. I'm just placing a few pins because the fabric is just a little slippery and I want to hold my position. Now you can place a pin down the entire leg if it will be easier for you to keep it together, but I just want to keep together the bottom and the center so that it doesn't slip around. Stitch down those sides, and then when we come back we're going to make the waistband. So I have cut a strip of fabric that is 8 inches tall by my waist measurement minus 3 inches. This fabric is very stretchy, so I subtracted 3 inches. And I'm going to fold that strip in half, and I'm going to zigzag stitch down the side. It's 8 inches wide so that I can fold it in half and it'll be 4 inches. So now that it's sewn up, I am going to take that and turn it right side out and then fold it in half. And now that it's right side out and folded in half, I turned it inside out and upside down, and I've turned my pants right side out. So in order to attach the waistband, you have to turn the pants right side out. And now I'm going to section off the pants and the waistband into 4 sections. I'm going to place a pin at the sides of the pants, and then I have my middle front and middle back seams, and I'm going to do the same thing to the waistband. That seam that I sewed down the side of the waistband is going to act as my back seam, my center back seam, and I placed the pin on the other fold as the center front seam, and now I folded it again to place a pin for the side seams, and I'm placing pins, and then I'm going to take the pants and I'm going to tuck them inside of the waistband, and I'm going to match up that front middle pin to the front middle seam of the pants, and I'm going to pin at that area, and then I'm going to take the side pin on the pants and the side pin on the waistband, and I'm going to match those up and pin it together. The same thing with the back seam and the back seam on the pants and the back seam on the waistband, and pin those together. And the other side of the pants and the side of the waistband, and I'm going to stretch and stitch all the way around using a zigzag stitch to attach it. And once it's attached, I'm going to turn it right side out and the waistband is attached. The only thing left to do for the pants is to roll hem the bottom. So I'm going to roll up 1/2 inch and then roll up another 1/2 inch, and I'm going to stitch as close to the edge as possible all the way around, and I'm going to do it to the other pant leg, and the pants are done. So now that we're going to work on the top, the hoodie, I am using an old hoodie sweatshirt, and I have folded it up to the pocket area so that I can measure the length that I want it to be, and I'm cutting around using a 1-inch seam allowance, and I've measured from my underarm area down to the length that I want it to be, and then I'm going to cut across, all the way across, so that I don't waste any fabric. And I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to make a snip right where the hood is, and that's my snip for the other side. So then I'm going to remove the hoodie, and then I'm going to cut up that 1 inch on the other side just so that it'll be out the way. And I'm going to fold in half the fabric so that I can cut an even side seam and armhole for the other side. And then I am going to trim off a bit for the neckline down to the length that I want the neckline to be. And I'm going to match up those pieces. And I'm going to sew across the shoulder, the side seams, and then we're going to work on the sleeve. So I have folded in half another piece of fabric, and I'm going to place the sleeve of the jacket on top of that fabric right at the fold, and I'm going to make a snip right a 1/2 inch above the seam line of the sleeve on the bottom and the top, and then I'm going to cut across the bottom of the sleeve and then cut up 1/2 inch away from the edge. So starting from that top edge of the shoulder where the snip is, I am going to curve it around and cut it down to where the underarm area meets. And then I'm going to fold the fabric again, and I'm going to use that sleeve as a pattern. I'm going to join it right to the fold and cut out a second sleeve. Now that I have those sleeves cut out, I'm going to take them to the machine, and I'm going to sew down the edges using a zigzag stitch. And now for the hood, I have placed the hood of the hoodie sweatshirt on top of the fabric that I have folded so that I have 2 pieces, and I am using a 1-inch seam allowance, hem allowance at the front, and then I'm going to make it just a little bit wider at the back. So I am going to start further away from the back, and I'm going to follow the curve of the hood, but just making it wider at the back. And I'm opening up that fold just at the top, snipping off just a tiny bit. Try not to waste any scraps, you guys. So at the back bottom portion of the hood, it's on an angle the way that it is attached to the jacket. So I'm just following that angle. I am going to cut down in the same shape that the angle is going from the back of the hood, so that it'll match up well with the pieces that I've already cut out. Be sure to leave enough seam allowance so that when you attach it, it won't be too short. So I'm just taking the scissors to meet the area where I made the snip at the front. And I'm going to sew down the back using a zigzag stitch. So now all of those pieces are sewn together. We're going to turn one of the sleeves right side out, and we're going to attach it to the top. The top is still inside out, and we're going to tuck the sleeve inside of the top, and we're going to match up the side seam of the sleeve to the side seam of the shirt, and we're going to place a pin, and then we're going to match up the top folded crease of the sleeve to the shoulder seam of the shirt and place a pin, and then we're going to evenly distribute the sleeve around the circle. Now, if you're confused about how I've done this and you can't see it that well in this video, please go back and watch any of my videos that have sleeves. I've done it the same way in each video. So I'm just placing pins and evenly distributing the sleeve around the circle. And once you have that sleeve pinned to the shirt, you take it to the machine and stitch around the hole, and do the same thing for the other side. Now that the sleeves are attached, we're going to attach the hood. So we're going to fold the shirt in half so that we can determine the middle of the front and the middle of the back. And we're going to place 2 pins, one in the front and one in the back. And then we're going to take the hood and we're going to pin that back center seam right side to the back of the shirt. So the center back of the shirt to the center back of the hood, right side to right side. So you know it's right side to right side because the inside of the hood where the seam is stitched will be facing outward when you turn the hood down, the same way it would if you were wearing a hood. And then you're going to pin it all the way around till you get to the front. And the hood should meet all the way around to the front center seam, the center front of the shirt. And when you get to the center front pin, you're going to take the hood and you're going to fold that small piece. You're going to do a rolled hem, or you're going to fold it like a rolled hem so that you can attach it to the top and just pin it to the front. And you do the same thing with the other side. Distribute the hood all the way around the circle of the neckline, and when you get around to the center front, you're going to roll up that edge like you're doing a rolled hem, and you're going to stitch around the edge. Now that it's pinned, you're going to stitch around the circle to attach the hood, and notice that I've overlapped the 2 front pieces of the hood. And I'm demonstrating how I rolled it, just like I'm doing a rolled hem. And you're going to attach it to the center front. You're not going to hem it until after you attach it though. So you're just rolling and pinning. So that piece is going to get sucked up under the machine, under the needle, for lack of a better word. So pin that together and stitch around. Stitch around the circle. And then once you're done stitching the hood, then you're going to continue with that rolled hem all the way around the hood and then stitch it down. And then you're going to roll hem the bottom of the top. You're going to roll it up 1/2 inch. And then another 1/2 inch. So around the bottom. And the same thing with the sleeves. You're going to do a rolled hem on the sleeves. And sew around as close to the edge as possible. Now that you have everything hemmed and attached, we're going to top stitch around the hood. So that raw edge that is kind of sticking up after you've attached the hood, you're going to fold it down inside of the top and top stitch around that seam so that it will lay down flat inside of the shirt. So you're going to stitch it down to the inside. And notice how the hood is overlapping, and you are done. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.